This Raspberry Pi is plugged into the wall and attached to the local network. These ESP32s are attached to the local network, but they're also plugged into the serial ports of this laptop. So I can see their serial outputs. When I SSH into the Raspberry Pi and Docker Compose up on my Mosquitto container, the devices attach and start talking to each other. I Docker Compose down, and they're back on their own. This is done with a single Docker Compose file and a configuration file. Let me show you how it's done. Have you thought about running your Mosquitto broker in Docker? If you've already tried, you've noticed that it requires you to put all your files in different places. If you've got Mosquitto running on your computer already and your configuration set, it's mildly upsetting to have to put all these things in different places now. On top of that is the fact that you're always getting tripped up in your Docker volume definitions where you don't know if you should put a slash before or after a directory name, things like that. I'll walk you through these differences so you can get your Mosquitto broker running in Docker and you can start to enjoy all those benefits that Docker brings. Spin it up, it's there. Spin it down, it's gone. Put it wherever you want, it runs the same. In fact, the Docker image is set up to work exactly the same on a Raspberry Pi as it is a Windows computer. The architectural differences do not affect it, and that's not true for other applications. In the next few weeks, I'm going to be covering all the relevant topics for getting you set up with a nice Mosquitto broker installation so that you can start to build your IoT project. If you want to catch these videos as they come out, make sure you subscribe. Config, persistence, and logs. These are the three things from your Mosquitto bare metal configuration that you want to get converted over to your Docker configuration. When you install Mosquitto directly on your computer, all the configuration files will be in /etc/Mosquitto. Everything starts with mosquitto.conf. When we inspect this, you see that this is the starting point of your configuration, but it also calls out by default some persistence settings and some log settings. We also need to find a place for the famous listener 1883, allow anonymous true. We can just add those lines to our mosquitto.conf. But you see, we also have this include dir directive, which says that anything that shows up in the confd directory will be included in the configuration. So I don't save that. And we'll go ahead to confd and add additional.conf and add those lines. So when we restart Mosquitto, those lines will be included in the configuration. And what you see is that these two ESP32s, which have been hanging out there, are now reconnected to the broker. Let's take a look at the Docker Mosquitto documentation to get a sense for how things change. Scrolling down, you're going to start to see the pattern that I'm trying to establish. Config, persistence, and log. The docs state that these directories are created for you. This is not a rule that you need to use these locations. I think it's more of a convention, maybe for groups who are working on a project together. Coming down further, they reiterate, we're going to persist data to Mosquitto data, which used to be var lib mosquitto, and we're going to log to Mosquitto log, which used to be var log mosquitto. That's it. They give some sample code below, and then they show how to implement the volumes you need so that you can connect the folders inside your Docker container to the outside. I'm not much of a Docker run guy. I prefer Docker Compose. Let's start by getting Docker installed, and then we'll do Docker Compose. After you install Docker, you need to exit out and re-enter the shell so that the window recognizes your user as a member of the Docker group. So we exit, re-SSH in, and now we can install Docker Compose. Now I'm going to just run a script to create some files. I want to make a mosquitto.conf and a dockercompose.yaml. I'll show you those contents in a second. Here they exist. Let's go ahead and edit our mosquitto.conf. We've got our listener directive, but remember the Docker docs showed us we could add these lines to give you something similar to the regular Mosquitto installation that we did on your computer. With those locations set, we should go inside our Docker Compose and edit the volumes so that the folder locations inside the container are linked to a folder location on the outside. I believe what they're intending you to do is just have 3 folders on the outside that tie directly to the 3 folders they have inside of the Mosquitto folder. Now on the outside, I've got to make it match. So I'll create a config folder and put mosquitto.conf in that folder, and then also create data and log. Also, I'm going to change this port to 1884 so I can run this broker next to the other broker I have installed directly on my Pi. Now that it's running, if we look at our folders again, you see the Mosquitto conf that was already there. There is no data, but look, we do have a mosquitto.log. That was created by the container and copied to our laptop. Going inside the Docker container and doing a similar inspection, we see that inside Mosquitto we have our 3 folders. And what we have here mirrors the outside, which is we've added a mosquitto.log. Notice a little side point here, this Mosquitto no auth. They actually give you this listener 1883 allow anonymous true, I guess kind of a sample code to show you how you want to get started when you first fire this up. I'm just going to walk back some of these changes now. I don't actually do logging, I rely on standard out. So if we go back into the mosquitto.conf, we can set this to standard out, and then we don't need the log folder. I have to remember to use sudo. Also, the way I'm doing things right now, I don't use persistence, so I can delete these lines. And actually standard out, I believe, is default anyway. If I delete this, this gets you back to that original recommendation. I can get rid of my data folder as well. Now, mosquitto.conf is in config for no reason. Just to simplify things, I'm going to move it back to my Mosquitto folder using sudo. Then I'll delete the config folder. And lastly, restore my Docker Compose to how I had it before. I was wondering how much running this in a container actually affects things. The internet and AI says not much, but I wanted to prove it. So on my laptop, I created 2 client apps that will connect to the broker and then fire messages back and forth 1,000 times. And I wanted to time how long this takes. Once with a regular installation, and then also once with a Docker installation, I wanted to compare. So I'll turn on my client number 2, let's call it, and I'm going to spin up a new Mosquitto broker on the Raspberry Pi. You see that the client 2 connects and is waiting. As soon as I fire off the client number 1, a chain reaction starts. We do 1,000 messages and we get a response time. That took 8 seconds, 8.5 seconds. I'm going to run through this test repeatedly and log all the values. With that done, I'll then uninstall the Mosquitto broker and then turn to the Docker Compose version. To spin that up, I'm going to go to that Docker Compose file and change the port back to 1883 so that the ESP32s can find it. After that, it's just Docker Compose up. Client 2 connected. I can run client 1 to set up the chain reaction, and then I will just log all these values just like I did for the bare metal version. Now, this is not the result I expected. I actually did this twice before the video. Both times, it took the Docker version slightly longer to execute, but not by much. Even if I take out these large values, it doesn't change the result. I think it's unlikely that running it in Docker is actually faster. You have to go, in the Docker situation, one hop from the host computer to the network of the Docker engine. It is plausible that this causes virtually no delay. I think it's safe to say running it in Docker does not make a significant difference on your performance. There's one more thing I want to talk about before closing out. When we go back to the regular Mosquitto install, you see that in etc. Mosquitto, we've got some other files, ACL file, certs, password file. When you set up on your computer, you're going to end up hitting some permissions issues. And so you go ahead and make those changes and they work. It's different when you're running in a Docker container. When you're binding volumes to the container, the permissions you have on the outside are brought into the inside. But those files on the inside have to have specific permissions before they can work. I want to show some files from a more complex Mosquitto installation I put together. In the Docker file, we're going to copy a start script into the container. We're going to set its permissions as executable, and then we're going to call it as an entry point. If you don't call an entry point in your Docker file, the image that Eclipse provides you will have its own entry point command that starts up Mosquitto. If you instead call out your own entry point, you're then going to be responsible for starting up Mosquitto at the end of its execution. Why would you do that? So that you can change the permissions of certain files as soon as the container starts up. In my case, I'm mounting a password file and a search folder. So I need to be able to change those permissions on those entities when I fire up my Docker container. We can stop here. I just want to make you aware of some of those file permission issues so that you're not surprised when you're figuring this out later on. For now, let's just enjoy that we've got Mosquitto running in a Docker container. If this content's helpful, please click like. You know that's how you can tell YouTube that you like what I did here. I'm Larry. Let's keep going on MQTT. I'll see you next week.